Neighborhood just outside Boston. Just to give you a very brief overview of SMH, the mission of our organization is to promote the improvement of mental health by providing the public with education, screening, and treatment resources. So we started in 1991 with our flagship program, which is National Depression Screening Day, and that introduced the concept of large-scale mental health screening and education. And today we provide both in-person and online screening and education for depression, bipolar disorder, generalized anxiety disorder, PTSD, eating disorders, alcohol misuse, and suicide. So we've really evolved since 1991. Okay, so today we're going to discuss the prevalence of depression, anxiety, bipolar disorder, and eating disorders among college students. We're also going to review trends in health behaviors among college-age adults. We'll take a look at how mental health screening can help promote student affairs, engagement, and connection. And we're also going to look at what goes into implementing a peer-to-peer depression awareness and suicide prevention program. So what's the problem? Why do we need this type of programming on campus? So I'm just going to give you some broad statistics, U.S. statistics about the college-age population relating to mental health. So suicide is the third leading cause of death among 18 to 24-year-olds in the U.S. The two causes of death that come before suicide for this group are accidents and homicide. So on college campuses, suicide actually jumps up to the second leading cause of death, as homicides are quite low on college campuses. 18% of adults have had the prevalence of an anxiety disorder in the past 12 months, and 6.7% of adults have had the prevalence of a major depressive disorder in the last 12 months. 95% of those who have an eating disorder are between the ages of 12 and 25, and 25% of college-aged women engage in binging and purging as a form of weight management. Also, 50% of people with eating disorders meet the criteria for depression, so these disorders absolutely coexist. And eating disorders have the highest mortality rate of any mental illness. Okay. So this next slide, these are numbers taken from the American College Health Association National College Health Assessment and focus specifically on college students. So they do this study every year in the fall and the spring, and it's about 70,000 students is their sample. So I hope I'm not boring you all with numbers, but I really love numbers, and I think they're important to look at just to sort of get the scope of what the problem is. So according to these students, in the past 12 months, 85% felt so overwhelmed by everything that they had to do. 50% felt overwhelming anxiety. 44.6% felt that things were hopeless at some point. 29.5% confessed that they felt so depressed that it was difficult to function. Almost 7% had considered suicide, and 1.2% actually did attempt suicide. Students also did report that the following events were either traumatic or very difficult to handle. So if you look at this list, we're talking about academics, finances, intimate relationships is something that I hear about a lot, family problems, difficulty sleeping, their social life, work-related issues, maybe a health issue with a family member, or a personal health issue, and then the death of a family member or a friend. They also reported that their academic performance was being affected by some of these things. So stress, sleep problems, anxiety, being sick, again, work, the internet, depression, concern for someone else who might be going through a hard time, their participation in other things, so finding a good balance can be difficult. Again, relationship issues, and also a very small percentage did say that eating disorders were affecting their academic performance. So within the last 12 months, these percentages of students out of that larger group were actually treated for a disorder. So if you look at depression and anxiety specifically, these numbers based on what we've just seen, look pretty low for those who are actually seeking out help. So many students are not always getting the help that they might need. And just some more look at how these disorders can affect academics. Depression can cause reduced interest, sleep disturbances, difficulties with decision-making, and a lack of interest in the future. Anxiety has similar effects as depression and can also really impair the ability to concentrate and remain on just one task. Eating disorders can cause fatigue. The obsession with weight and food can interfere with other things, as can binging and purging. And eating disorders can also cause cognitive deficits, such as poor attention and poor memory. So how can we help? What can we do to reach out to these students? So that's where the College Response Program comes in. So the goal of the College Response Program is to promote the prevention, early detection, and treatment of prevalent and often underdiagnosed and treatable mental health and alcohol problems through both in-person and online screening. It's designed for both 2-year and 4-year schools, and it's really not just about the students. It's really designed to involve many people on campus and create awareness. So this slide just looks at the HBCUs who are currently using the College Response Program. We have always had a really great relationship with the Center for Excellence, and we're thrilled to have so many schools participating in the College Response Program. And this is a really great way for all of you to share ideas and support one another in your efforts. And so this list I'm happy to send out after the webinar if anyone wants to get in touch with each other to share stories, or if you're thinking about getting College Response and you want to talk to someone about it, I'm happy to send this list after. I think also we'll be sending out the PowerPoint, so you'll have it. Okay, so what is College Response? And so for those of you who are not familiar, there are many aspects, and I'm going to cover a lot of them, but I'm going to start with the campus events. So we offer kits of materials to hold events on campus, and these events are designed to raise awareness and show that your school is making mental health a priority, and it can also help staff identify students who may be at risk. We have program kits for National Depression Screening Day, which falls in October. It was actually just a couple of weeks ago on October 10th. The National Eating Disorder Screening Program, which is the entire last week of February, and then National Alcohol Screening Day, which happens in April. And the kits include lots of materials, promotional materials, educational materials, and then also screening forms for students who would like to take a screening at the event and speak with someone there. Some students might prefer to grab a screening form and take it back to their room. And as I refer to screening, just know that I'll go a little bit more into detail about exactly what that looks like a little later. But along with the kit, we also provide what we call the downloadable resources, and this includes electronic versions of everything that comes in the kits, as well as some customizable emails, press releases, and social media posts that you can send out to your entire campus. So we really try to help you get the word out about these events. These are a couple posters that we used this past year. One was for National Alcohol Screening Day, the one on the left pretty clearly, and the other was for National Depression Screening Day. So this is just a really small example of things that come in the kits, and these posters are used to promote, so you can hang them around campus, hang them up at your event, however you choose to use them. Okay, so now we'll move on to our online screening program. So much of what our students are doing now is online. They're more likely to share things online than they are in person, and college personnel have done a really great job of adapting and trying to make things more appealing to their students by getting things online. So the online screening is a great tool for that reason. The online screening is anonymous, so it can reduce any pressure that a student might feel at an in-person event. It can also create a much further reach. So someone who might not be able to attend the event, they might have a practice, or they just don't want to go, or whatever the reason might be, you can send out an email that will go out to everyone on campus that includes the link to the screening. So it's a way to reach everybody. It also allows the college to provide specific referral information. So you'll see when we look at it a little later that at the end of each screening, the student is referred to the counseling services that are available on campus, and that's all customized to each specific school. So it'll let them know where their services are. It also provides reports back to the school. So you can take a look at those reports and see how students are scoring, and then maybe increase some of your efforts in certain areas based on what you're noticing from the reports. So for the academic year of 2012 to 2013, of the students who took our online screenings, these are the numbers. So 82% scored positive for symptoms consistent with depression, 88% for symptoms consistent with an anxiety disorder, 26.7% for symptoms consistent with a bipolar disorder, and 61% for symptoms consistent with eating disorders. And so these numbers may look high, but again, these are those students who took the screening. So they might have taken the screening because they were feeling like something was a little off, and so it's not the entire student body. I just like to make sure that I note that because sometimes people get confused. So these are of the students who took the screening, how they scored. And so then of those students who scored positive, the following percentages represent those who said that they would seek follow-up treatment. So we do ask that question to get a better gauge of what students are doing with this information once they have it. And so as you'll see, a lot of them actually do indicate that they will seek treatment. So now we're looking at what the online screening actually looks like. So this is a welcome page, which is customized to look and feel like your school. So the logo and the images would come from, are all customizable. Here we just have the SMH logo, but it would be the school's logo. The language of the welcome message is also customizable. And then we get into the screening. And these questions are not customizable. These are set. But so you'll see here, you can choose which screening based on how you're feeling. And then on the right-hand side over here, this drop-down takes you to a specific screening. So you can get in either way. And then we ask some demographic questions just for reporting purposes. And then we get into the screening questions. So asking about their mood, and each response is given a weight, and that will determine the end results. So you can kind of see the selection of, and those are the responses for each of these questions, for none or little of the time to for all of the time. So we do ask a question about suicide, and if a student answers this question positively, this is a message that pops up and urges them to call the National Suicide Prevention Lifeline or 911 immediately. And so now we're looking at the results page. So this is for depression. This person took a depression screening. So on this page, we're going to find a description of their results and some information and resources for them to look through. And then on that same page, you're going to see the resources that are available. And so this is all customizable, and it lets them know where to go on campus to speak to somebody. So this would be customized to direct them to your counseling center. And again, here we have fillers. And so this is a look at the scoring instructions, and these are actually, this is a copy of the paper form that goes with the in-person online screening form. But just to give you a look at it, the online screening results are calculated the same way. So depending on how a student answers the questions, they'll fit into a range that either says their symptoms are not consistent with a disorder, that they are consistent, or that they are strongly consistent. And then the referral information will be tailored to their results. Just one more thing to note when I'm talking about the screening forms. These tools are non-diagnostic, and that's why I keep saying alerts them to the fact that they might have symptoms consistent with a disorder. They really need to seek further evaluation to determine whether they do, in fact, have a disorder. These are just tools to help them find out if they might. Okay, so some of the benefits to online screening. It will raise campus awareness about mental health disorders. It can educate students and administrators about the symptoms and effective treatments and resources that are available. It offers all students the opportunity to be screened. I kind of said that a little earlier. It can connect those in need to the resources that can help them. And having this type of program can also enhance your school's risk management policy. So now we're going to move on to our peer-to-peer-based suicide prevention program. And I'll start off by looking at some data about the help-seeking behaviors of college students. and how we sort of developed the DORA program, which is it's the Depression Outreach Alliance program, and it's depression awareness and suicide prevention. So in a study done in 2009, it was found that 46% of undergraduate students and 47% of graduate students chose not to tell anyone about their suicidal thoughts. And two-thirds of those students who did disclose their suicidal ideation first chose to tell a peer, and almost no one chose to tell a professor. And even more alarming, among those students who did disclose their suicidal thoughts to others, only 50%, about 50%, were advised by the first person that they told to seek professional help. So from the same article, I really liked this quote, and I thought it really highlighted the true purpose of the College Response DORA program. Not only are students more likely to be chosen as confidants by peers who experience suicidal ideation, but they also stand to benefit personally from the increased awareness of mental health issues that will be facilitated through training, thus resulting in a deeper and more enduring impact on campus suicide prevention. So by going through the DORA program, we're training the student body to be gatekeepers. The DORA program is a 1-hour peer-based mental health, wellness, and suicide prevention program. The primary teaching tool is a DVD, which profiles college students who have struggled with depression and suicidal ideation and are now in recovery. And it's designed to be led by peer leaders alongside counseling staff. So it starts with a really brief discussion about mental health and about suicide, and then they watch the video, and then after that there's a much deeper discussion sort of about some of the things that happened in the video. And it really kind of takes the conversation, depends on who's all in the group, but it's just designed to sort of start the conversation about mental health and suicide. So the benefits to this type of program, it promotes a sense of belongingness through small group connection. It gets people talking about mental health experiences and normalizes stress and anxiety. The conversations often end up with students sort of relating to each other on these types of issues and acknowledging that maybe they've had a friend who's gone through a hard time. The small group conversation can also give individuals who might not share in a big group more of a voice. You can empower your student leaders who are implementing the DORA program by allowing them to choose the best setting and make some of the decisions on their own about how the group's going to run. And it also fosters outreach and empathy and belongingness and social responsibility. I'm stuck on this one slide. Okay, well, I can keep talking if this slide seems to have stopped. So some important steps in planning a program like this. You want to hold a planning meeting for sure, and I recommend more than one meeting, a few meetings to sort of prepare for the, now it's all the way to the end. So yes, as I was just saying, some planning and training meetings. You want to assign roles and areas of responsibility within your team. Make sure you choose a good group setting. And it's really important to involve the College Counseling Center. So we really recommend that someone from the Counseling Center or multiple people from the Counseling Center are present. In some cases, that isn't the case, but if students are not going to involve someone from the Counseling Center, we highly advise that they at least let them know that this is taking place and to absolutely have a crisis plan in place for if someone gets upset. And so to have an effective campus suicide prevention program, you need to make sure that all of these factors are present. So awareness through education and open dialogue, peer support, and connection to resources all help to have an effective campus suicide prevention plan. And so this is actually where my presentation ends. Something else that I'd really like to mention is that all of our programs come with best practices guides, and really outline how to run a successful event. So all of the in-person events, as well as the DOOR program, and then the online screening programs also. We really try to do as much customer service as we possibly can. I think sometimes we're almost bothering people by how many emails we're sending. Well, I mean, don't worry, but we're really just trying to help and make sure we're asking the right questions and getting the right feedback. And if something's not working for someone, we want to make sure we fix it. So that's how we've developed the best practices guides, from listening to our clients, and then we're always here in the office answering questions. So yeah, I spoke, I think, maybe a little fast because it took a little less time than it did when I went through it earlier. So I'm more than happy to answer any and all questions. So I want to unmute your lines.
The leader has unmuted your line.
Oh, Stasha?
Yeah, you're okay. We can hear you. We can hear you.
Hello? Yeah, I can hear you.
I think you muted yourself, so unmute yourself by pressing #6 now.
Hi, this is Lorna Best from Cheney University.
Hi.
Hi. Is there a fee to the program?
A fee? Yes. I thought that would probably be a question. So we have different deals. So depending on what you want to order, we have a combination package that includes everything. So that would be all 3 in-person kits, all 3 of the online screenings, and then also the DOOR program. And that's $925. And the online subscriptions last 1 year, so it's the academic year. It runs from September 1st through August 31st, and then if you order anytime during the year, the online screening portion is prorated. So that package of $925 that I just spoke about would be a little bit less because now we're in October, and so the online screening portion of that cost would be prorated. And then we offer everything as sort of combinations and then individually. So you can order just one thing, or you can get it as a package deal, and that's all cheaper based on sort of ordering it as a package. And I can send the registration brochure, which includes all that, to anyone who wants it or everybody after this call.
Thank you. That would be great.
Sure. Yep. So $925 would be the most, and then just for all 3 online screenings, without any of the in-person stuff, it's $425, which is another very big seller.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Are there any additional questions? This is a great time to speak directly with Joanna and get your questions answered.
Hello?
Yeah, yes. We can hear you.
Okay. Okay, I'd like to ask if, out of all of the programs you've done, do you have any data specifically on students at HBCUs?
You know, I don't, but it's easy. I can happily gather that for you. On the schools that we are active members right now, I mean, I would probably, because we're only in October, I could pull data from last academic year, and I'd be happy to share that also, specifically to the HBCUs. Yep.
And when you say data, what type of data are you looking for? You're interested in having shared?
The same data that she gave on other populations. Does she have that data on students from HBCUs?
So what I would be able to pull would be how many students screened positive for each of the disorders. Kind of similar to what I showed you from the data of all of our schools combined. We're in 649 schools, so that data that I showed earlier was from every school. So I'd be happy to run the reports for just the HBCUs and send them.
Another way to look at it, too, is how many minorities, you said, majority institutions did you run into having, a problem?
Yeah. So would it be helpful for me to send out the HBCU specific school data?
That plus if you had done work at Michigan, Ohio State, or something like that, you have a group of minority students at those schools too. I'd be interested in knowing how those students are faring also.
Okay, so breaking all of it out by the
You got
demographic.
HBCUs, you
Just
got
a little more specific.
you got
Okay.
117 HBCUs or whoever you work with HBCUs, and then
Yep.
you have your other institutions where majority institutions where minority students are attending.
Okay, that will be a little bit more difficult because we've got this big list that I'd have to look through to find out which schools are specifically those schools, because I don't have a list of the majority schools that you're speaking of. But the HBCU report is easy for me to run.
But you also know who you've worked with also, right? Majority-wise, you know the majority schools that you've worked with. You don't have to really pull them all out, but you know the ones that you've worked with.
Yeah, I'd have to look at the list. I might miss, I'm not sure who in that list
Okay.
is a majority school, but I can look at it and see what I can pull, and then I can also go deeper into the data for all of our schools if that's helpful too.
Okay.
Are there further questions?
Who are you?
Dr. Harrington, Dr. Patterson. We do have a little bit more time for those who would have questions that they would like to get in on this webinar.
So while everyone is thinking of the next question for Joanna, Dr. Harrington, we did do a roll call to find out who was on the line, the institutions represented. However, we've had more people to join us since the initial roll call. So if you would allow for the participants to go ahead and introduce themselves or reintroduce themselves, that would be great.
Okay, we can start out with Dr. Patterson.
Bernita Patterson, University of Arkansas at Pine Bluff.
Lorna Best, Cheney University.
This is Dr. Handwork from Albany State University.
Bianca Verrier from Florida Memorial University.
Professor Stevenson from Florida Memorial University.
Arkita Crawley from Norfolk State University.
Next.
Sybil Banniger Ruck from Livingstone College.
Okay, well, thank you all for joining us again. And if you don't have your questions for Joanna at this time, you're welcome to contact her via email or telephone. Her information is on the screen. Hello?
Dr. Trent.
Yeah, this is Joan.
Okay, I think she was explaining how we could order. I think she was, right? Or did she do that?
Joanna?
Uh-huh. Is there a specific sheet that she could send out or email in terms of ordering materials and the materials that she suggested we order?
Okay, let's see if she's... Joanna, are you still with us? She may have dropped accidentally, so But yeah, if she doesn't come back on the line, Dr. Patterson will definitely get the order form and order information out to you. And again, her information is up on the screen, her email address and phone number, where you could email or call her and give her the specifics of what you need if you're interested in ordering any of the products that she described. And as I said at the top of the hour when we started, this presentation will be available. I can email you a PDF copy of the presentation, as well as at some point we will have it uploaded on our website at www.hbcucfe.net, where we will house all of our behavioral health webinars.
And I would like to add, Joan, that those who are on the line who applied for mini grants and were able to get option 2 mini grants, these programs were offered to you already. And do we have any of those colleges or universities online right now?
Dr. Harrison?
I have a question. This is Margaret Spriggs from Clark, Atlanta.
Yes.
Now, Dr. Harrington had asked a question about if you already have an existing mini grant. Was that the question?
Yes, if you have, that would be a 2013-2014 mini grant.
Okay, I know we had someone from our department apply, but I don't know whether they got it or not for this year.
And see, it was 2 different programs, or it was the option 1 and option 2, and I think option specifically geared towards this program here, College Response.
Oh, okay. Okay. All right. So, like I said, I don't know if they had gotten it or not. I hadn't gotten any information back. But if they is geared toward option 2, then they could use some of those funds to apply to use this College Response.
They could use all of those funds to apply towards College Response.
College Response.
Yes.
Okay. But only if they chose option 2.
Joan, are you on the line?
Yes, I'm here.
I don't know if option 1 can. I think option 1 may have.
Yeah, well, there are people who have an option 1 mini grant that also purchase the College Response kits.
Right.
So yeah, there are people who do utilize this with their mini grant funds in option 1 as well.
So I just have to find out if they received the grant, the funds. I don't know whether they did or not.
Yes.
Okay. Okay, well, I'll ask because I haven't heard back. I know they applied, but I don't know whether they got it.
Yes, all notifications were sent out and the awards were announced. So there is someone at Clark that did receive a mini grant for year 2013-14, yes.
Oh, okay. Okay, okay, I'll check.
So I see Joanna is back on the line. And Joanna, there was a question regarding the order form and information pertaining to how an institution goes about ordering, what's needed, what needs to happen.
Okay, can you hear me?
Yes.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, okay. So you can order online by actually going to this link that's up on the screen right now. If you click on, I don't know if you can click on it, and it probably won't take you within this presentation, but there's a button when you go to that link that says register online. Also, I can send the PDF of our registration brochure out to people. They can fill it out and then fax it or mail it back in to us, or just simply call my number, which is right here in front of you, or the front office, and they'll which I can give to you. It's 781-239-0071, and they can take your order out there as well.
What was that
So
number again?
it's 239, oh, I'm sorry, 781-239-0071. A lot of people find that just ordering online is the easiest. But
Which
we're
one of
happy.
these? Which one of these? Because you can't click on it. Would take us to the order. The J. Carbell ad or the WW Mental Health Screen.
The www.mentalhealthscreening.org /college. Yep. But if you email me, I will also be able to help you if you click on that link that's on top. So either will get you there.
Okay, well, are there any additional questions or comments? Well, Joanna, thank you for your presentation. And again, the presentation will be available after today. We'll have it available on the website a little bit later. But if you're interested in the PDF copy, just email me, and my email is on the screen, thejtrent@msm.edu. And if you're interested in a certificate for participating today, also send me an email regarding a request for a certificate. Dr. Harrington, would you like to close?
Yes, I would certainly would like to thank all of you who tuned in on this webinar today. Thank you for your time and your collaboration, cooperation. And we do thank our speaker for today, Joanna Cabo from College Response. Thank you again for being the presenter. And
Thank you so much for having me.
Yes, and we do look forward to all of you joining us on next month, because these webinars are held monthly. And keep watching your email to see when the next one is coming up. We'd like to have you back and invite you back to participate in our next up-and-coming webinar for this webinar series. Again, thanks all, and at this time we'll just close out, and we will hear from those who have further questions. You'll have to get in touch with CFE as well as Cabo. And thank you again.
Thank you.